Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Prophet podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey. And today, it's rankings time. Jeff, you excited? This means it's like football season. I really think so. We're getting into the rankings, quarterback ranks. We're doing 1 through 15 today. I'm excited. I actually had my first draft last night. First real draft of the year, too. So it's that time of year, Jeff. I don't know about you. Feeling good?
Yeah, ready to go. Yeah, it does make it kind of real. I feel like these ones are kind of in stone for a bit. So you definitely want to make sure you did your due diligence. But yeah, it'll be good.
Mine haven't budged too much, really, since we did them a couple months ago. I mean, there's slight variations, but nothing crazy. I feel pretty good. I mean, really, we don't have really any real news to change our mind in the last 2 months. So not a lot is changing. We'll go over that in just a minute. We're going to do consensus. That's how we're going to do our 1 through 5 or 1 through 15. We combined our ranks. We have our consensus, but we'll let you know where we had them individually as well as we go over that. Before we do that, make sure you guys go check us out on Twitter at the FF Prophet or Instagram, the Fantasy Football Prophet. And on there, you can go take a look, find the championship belt that we posted that Pro-Am Belts provided us. And that'll be awarded to the winner of our listener leagues this year, which we actually been sending out emails to everyone that has entered so far, which how to get in the league is you leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, send it to us, let us know you reviewed the podcast, and we'll get you into one of the leagues. So if you've reviewed already and you sent us an email, you haven't got the email back to get into one of the leagues, just get a hold of us again. We'll get you all set up. We're looking at getting those things set up here really soon, so make sure you get your reviews in. We probably only have a few spots left at this point, to fill up our final league, and that might be where we end it. So get your reviews in, and we'll get you all set up. All right. It's time to go. 1 through 15. We're just going to start at the top. That's how we're going to go through it. This top player is not going to be very surprising. It's going to be number 1 is Aaron Rodgers. We both had him number 1. Yeah, he was hurt last year. It doesn't really matter. He's back. He's going to be healthy. If he stays healthy, he's going to be top 3 at worst when the season ends, most likely number 1. So Aaron Rodgers, my number 1. I don't really worry about losing Jordy Nelson. I think Adams is going to step in perfectly fine. Cobb's going to step in. Geronimo Allison, Jimmy Graham. It's going to be no problems at all for Aaron Rodgers. Easy number 1 pick for me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, we don't even really have to go too far into it. I mean, you look at where he's finished in fantasy since he pretty much took over way in, 2008. There's only... If you take out the 2 times he actually got hurt, he played 15 or 16 games. He was either 1 or 2 in, what did that come out to be? 8 years. And then he was 7th 1 year. That's the lowest you're going to get. That's crazy, but he will be 1 or 2. I mean, it's pretty much what it comes down to. He's that good.
Yep, and there's no hesitation. There wasn't even close. I didn't think about putting anybody else there. So it was a very easy selection for me. Not even... Yeah, no second guessing.
No, yeah.
Which our number 2 player, same guy. We each have the same guy, Russell. So 1 and 2 the same. I think Wilson, he finished first last year?
Yeah.
So, which I think I was on that one. But this isn't recency bias.
Yeah.
We're not just putting him number 1 because he had 1 good year. He's been good. He had a down year before that, which kind of made us wonder a little bit. But, I mean, he's the offense. If they're down, which... I think they might be down a little bit more. There's going to be more shootouts. This defense isn't the same anymore, obviously. It's not the same Seattle defense.
Yeah.
No. He's going to throw the ball around.
Defense, and I really don't, I hope that their offensive line is a little bit better, but I don't think that they have upgraded their line, their defense from what they lost in injury and trades and everything like that. And also, really, the weapons he has, there's no one that's going to take the ball out of his hands. Well, just put it that way. I like Penny. But, I don't think he's going to be some breakout star like Elliott was or anything like that.
And take away 2016 where he finished 11th. He's been, over his career, he went 9th, 8th, 3rd, and 1st. And then, 11th, 2016. Only 1 year out of the top 10. And been top 3 of the last 4. Why can't he do it again? I'm pretty sure he's going to be able to do it again. That shouldn't be a problem. I have absolutely no worries about Russell Wilson. Maybe he doesn't finish second, but top 5 for sure. And so that's why you're getting up here. But, okay, here's the other question. We have these guys ranked up here, Jeff. Either of them going to see your team?
I would like them, but no, more than likely they will not.
No, and that's just I don't pay for the quarterback. And these guys are good, and I rank them up here, but they're not so far and away better than everybody else for me to overspend to get them.
Right, and we're talking in standard one quarterback leagues because Aaron Rodgers actually did make his way on your team in the Scott Fish Bowl when you can start two quarterbacks. So it does change it slightly.
Yep.
But it's just important to say, like, Aaron Rodgers, absolutely love to have him on my team. But in a snake draft or one quarterback leagues, it's very unlikely I'm going to spend the price needed because it is so high.
Yep, I definitely agree there. All right, here we go. We're going to number 3, and we finally have a little difference in our opinions.
I figured this one was coming.
And number 3 for our consensus goes with Tom Brady. He's our number 3. He's my number 3. He's your number 4. Not far off in there. And this is just, it's simple again. It's Tom Brady. Until he doesn't do it, I'm going to think he's going to do it. That's kind of what it is with him. I don't care if he's what? Is he 41 now? I mean, it's a little ridiculous that he's still playing this well at this age. He's going to be 41 in about a week and a half. He'll turn 41 years old. No one has really done it at this age. And so that makes, there's some, I guess, pause there for me in just the fact that it's not been done. But Tom Brady's done a lot of stuff that people haven't expected. And for the most part, he's always up here. He's only actually had, like, I think, one number 1 season. He's typically, third, fourth, a lot, second. He's up there. He's always there. He's always there.
Yeah, he is. He's a very, very safe pick. Yep. And I think that is, and I already know who mine was. So this is where we differ here, is I think this is the first year where I would take the upside guy over Tom Brady, because last year, obviously, I would have taken Tom Brady.
Yep.
But it's not even so much, I have no issue with his weapons still. Like to Craig's point, I think he's going to be able to produce no matter who is out there. He's just that type of quarterback. But you do start wondering, is the arm strength going to kind of disappear a little bit? Is he going to be able to move around in the pocket quite as big? I don't worry about him, obviously, because we have him number 4, number 3 consensus. So we don't worry about it too much this year. But it is something to think about if you want more of that upside, or if you just want a guy that you believe is going to be probably a top 8 guy, no matter what. That's what he feels like for me this year. And then he really does have that high side of probably being, he could be second, he could be third. I don't see him overtaking Wilson or Aaron Rodgers if all 3 stay healthy.
Yeah, and for me, I put him there because it's consistent. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to have him on my team. I think he's going to be he's going to be great, though. I've just given him the benefit of the doubt that he'll be good until he's not. And why won't he be? He should be pretty solid. I guess the one worry is the receiving group isn't quite as good, maybe, without Cooks. I feel like it's just not quite as good. But that doesn't seem to affect him in the past. If he has a healthy Gronk,
I think that's what it's going to come down for me too. And well, a lot actually. Okay, we'll just get this out of the way. It really a lot has changed for him in the weapons he has. Right, so he doesn't have Deion Lewis to throw to. He still has Burkhead, who can catch the ball. You have Sony Michel, who we like, but we're not really sure what he's going to be able to do. We haven't seen it yet in the NFL. And Julian Edelman is going to be gone for the first 3 games.
Yep. And
so Chris Hogan is going to be, he's kind of one of my dark horse guys that I think can produce quite a bit. But if Gronk does go down, which that's not out of the realm of possibility, knowing Gronk, it could be, and, I think he would fall closer to the bottom of that top 10. I still think he'll be good.
Yeah.
But, just, it's where in my head I'm kind of like, how much am I willing to pay for a guy who, whose weapons have dwindled a bit?
And that's why we'll go to number 4, the guy you actually put ahead of Brady. He is our number 4, my number 5, your number 3, Deshaun Watson. And I put him in the top 5, which he's the weird case because you get some people that are going to just, just go after us for having him even this high because he hasn't done it or he barely did it. And he's he's all hype. But at the quarterback position, he looked really great. And this is a position where, yes, you can go upside a little bit. And if you miss, no big deal. You go deeper in the draft. But if you get a guy like Watson, even at this spot 4, and he ends up being, what he did last year, he's going to win you leagues. And I think he was really, really, really good. I have some hesitation, but I have moved him up. I've moved him up from about 8th early on to 5th now. Just because the upside's there. It's all there. You saw how good he was, and he has one of the best receivers to throw to and a pretty good number 2 option. So I think he's going to be really good. And But this is where you take a little bit of risk probably and take Deshaun Watson, and I think we're okay with it here.
Yeah. Yep. And the risk, I mean, there's two, right? You're worried that his knee isn't going to hold up. Obviously, he got injured last year after posting 19 touchdowns in 7 games and just running amok around everyone. And he really does trust his wide receivers. He just throws it up there. He is super fun to watch, and they do not have what I consider a great running game at the moment. Obviously, Foreman got hurt. We don't know what kind of shape he's in. Lamar Miller has never been one of my favorites, but he's a fine running back. But I don't think they are ever going to be able just to pound the ball down the field and not have to throw. If he stays healthy, there's no one else that has as much upside as Deshaun Watson. I mean, he was on pace, and I realize the pace thing is like, can he really keep it up? No, probably not. But, he was going to throw for over 40 touchdowns. He was going to be close to 4,000 yards. And the guy also is a running threat as well. So obviously we know how much that can amp up the quarterback scores. We've seen it with Cam Newton and RG3 way back in the day when he was a rookie. So there's just so much to like about this guy, and I think he's worth the risk. That's why he makes it up this far. But if you're not willing to stomach that, there are a few guys coming up right here that are much safer. So I think that's the difference. That's what you have to understand.
Mm-hmm. One of those, I'll go number 5, is Cam Newton, my 4th, your 6th. And Cam's in a little interesting case because over his, 7 seasons in the NFL, 7 seasons. So let's say 5 of his 7, he's actually been in the top 4. That's actually better than I even expected to see. It's just he had 2 seasons that, one finished 17th, one finished 18th. The 17th season, he played 14 games. The 18th, he finished 15, played 15 games. Even with playing all the games, he's still top 15 at best. Maybe close to top 10 that one year. But 5 top 4 seasons? That's really impressive. And I think last year we had some hesitation with Cam, and it was mainly due to the fact that we thought the running game wasn't going to be there for him. He wasn't going to run the ball. And I think the Panthers kind of realized if they want to be good, Cam Newton needs to run the ball. And he had more carries last year than he's ever had, more yards than he's ever had. I did not see that coming.
No. And for a good reason, though. Yeah. We thought they were going to try to keep him healthy and turn him into a pocket passer, which he just wasn't nearly as effective. But luckily for us, Cam Newton is a freak of nature who can take the punishment of the NFL because he's such a big quarterback. Yep. He's just a freak athlete. And the other reason why I have him, up this high as well is he finally does have, he had Kelvin Benjamin back in the day, but I think he has the most weapons he's ever had for a passing game. So you have McCaffrey coming out of the backfield who could what he had, I always forget, but 90 catches last year?
Around there. It
was ridiculous.
I think he's a shooing for 80 at least again
so
this year.
You can throw it out of the backfield. Olsen is healthy again, which is hugely, hugely beneficial to Cam Newton. You have Funchess, who came around last year. He actually looks pretty good. And you add DJ Moore, who I think is a very good prospect. Maybe he won't break out this season, but I think he will definitely help the passing game. And I don't know, that it seems like this is just a very, very good spot to be in as long as, something huge doesn't happen to, the offensive line or something like that. I think Cam Newton is going to be around for this might be the most consistent he's ever been in his career, game in and game out. I think that's a very, very good thing since he has been kind of up and down.
Yeah, and I really like him, but I think other people are faulting.
We're not alone on this one, yeah.
Yeah, he's been. I was shocked kind of when I saw how many top 4 seasons he has. I didn't realize it was that many, and I thought he was slightly a little more up and down than that. But no, he's just been there, been good.
Really, that one, it's just that one season.
Yeah, now with the weapons, he should be good. And I really like Greg Olsen this year. I think that's going to be a big boost for him again. So Newton should have a solid season. But the guy we have at number 6, you actually have one spot ahead of Cam Newton. He's at number 6. It's Carson Wentz. He's your 5th player. He's my 8th actually, but he comes in at number 6 for us. Still coming back from the injury. We don't know a lot. I think he's going to be fine. I don't think we'll probably see much in the preseason. He should be perfectly fine. He was, really good last year until the injury. He was probably the MVP of the NFL if he didn't get hurt. And he has a very good offense around him. He's going to be throwing the ball to Alshon. Nelson Aguilar should be pretty good. Zach Ertz. He has Jay Ajayi running the ball, has a pretty good offense. He threw, 33 touchdowns in 13 games last year. Only 7 picks, so he's not going to hurt you there. He had 3,200 yards, so he had 3 more games, and he's over 4,000 yards. He probably gets close to 40 touchdowns if he had continued. And he's still, he finished the year as the 5th ranked quarterback, missing 3 games.
Yeah, he's just insanely good. And even if he doesn't stay on that pace, 33 touchdowns in 13 games is pretty ridiculous. He was just on fire, and they throw a ton in the red zone. Literally, there's nothing bad I can say about him, because he has just improved, and he's still incredibly young, and that offense they run, everything points to him having another great year. It's really, the only question is going to be the knee. Was that the main reason you put him down, or and it's not like you put him down a ton. No,
I just think there's a couple guys, the 2 guys I have ahead of him. Oh, obviously I also had, I had Cam ahead of him, but the other 2 I have ahead of him, I kind of like the guy. I like the players, so more of that. And slightly the injury, I guess, is a slight part of it, but I can't really say that because one of the guys I have ahead of him is another injury guy. Okay. So
I was gonna say, it's very hard to downgrade him after seeing what he did as a young quarterback last year. Because he was just so dominant. The throws he was making, it was unbelievable, and that offense isn't taking a huge hit. Like, they haven't lost anyone. I think they're going to pick up right where they left off. You saw, even Foles came in and looked like an all-star. So I think you're just, and nothing against Foles, but I think you're just seeing what a special player Wentz can be. Yeah, maybe his touchdowns will fall a little bit, but the knee thing is the only worry I have in my head. Otherwise, 5th and you missed 3 games. That's crazy production.
Yep, and he'll be good, but
all right, what
the guy at number 7 I have ahead of him?
I was gonna say, who's that?
He's our number 7. He's your number 8. He's my number 7. He's Andrew Luck. He's moved up to number 7 for us.
So I gotcha.
Andrew Luck. And yes, he had injuries too, but I am buying into the fact that he's going to be healthy. And if you have a healthy Andrew Luck, this is even too low, I feel like. He's had 4 healthy seasons in his career. He finished 10th his rookie year, but then he finished 4th, he finished 2nd, he finished 4th. So he's always there. He's always good. He has a great receiver in T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. Hilton's been up and down, but I think it's because it's Luck. Again, but the rest of the offense maybe isn't anything to be.
They're going to have to throw it, right?
Yeah. But he's had 3 4,000 yard seasons out of his 4 full seasons. He had the one that wasn't was 3,800. He's had 40 touchdowns, 31 touchdowns. I feel like he's going to be great. It's crazy that Andrew Luck's already 29 years, going to be 29 years old here when the season starts. And we're still waiting for him to actually really do something, but I think if he's healthy, I think he's going to be really good. And I think he's going to be healthy. I don't know why. I guess we don't know. It's just a complete gut feeling. I think he's ready to go. If he's not this year, it's kind of sad, and it's just not going to happen probably. It's kind of disappointing to have a player that great be hurt. I think he's going to be fine. And
I hope. Yeah. Really, I think, if I'm definitely, you're splitting hairs there. I have no issue with you putting Luck above him because he is such a phenomenal talent. I think if I'm going to kind of go one way or the other, saying that I was worried about Wentz's knee, I'd much rather worry about a knee, which I've seen quarterbacks come back, Tom Brady, because they can throw. Luck, the fact that it's an arm injury and a thing that kept him out an entire year, it just still kind of freaks me out a little bit when I still haven't seen video of him. Everyone says he's getting back to it and he's going to do it, and hence why he moved all the way up to number 8 for me. I'm buying in. It still worries me a bit, though.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a worry. But I think where you can actually get him in drafts, it's not much risk. That's the thing. I don't think there's a lot. I don't think there's a lot of risk.
I would agree with that. He could end up on some of my teams because he isn't going quite as high as maybe he should in some.
Yeah, I like him. Which I also like the guy who is next, who is actually still, for me, ahead of Luck.
Okay, this one might actually surprise me. I'm not sure who you're going to say in this one.
This is actually a tie for us. This 8th spot is a tie. We end up it's Drew Brees.
Oh, okay.
And Kirk Cousins actually tie for the 8th spot for us. So, but much different. Drew Brees for me is my 6th. He's your 10th. Start with Brees. And last year, he finished 11th last year. That's where he finished. Before that, he had a ridiculous amount of top 10 seasons before that. And he threw for 5,000 yards on 5 different occasions. He's usually over 40 yards, 30 touchdowns, gets close to 40. Last year, he still had 4,300 yards. He had a 72% completion percentage, the best of his entire career. He only threw 23 touchdowns. Is that a fluke? Is that just based on where they were in the field and a lot more running touchdowns from Ingram? I don't know. It's weird that he dropped that much when he obviously was still throwing the ball. Not as many. It was his least amount of attempts in a while. Before that, he had 2009. He had less, but that was the last time he had less, and that was basically because he played one less game. So the last time he had less in a full season was 2005 playing for San Diego. He never had less with the Saints. That is a worry that maybe that's part of it. But with Ingram gone for 4 games, Kamara's obviously going to be involved heavily, but he's not going to be involved heavily running the ball 20 times. He's going to be catching the ball. So that can help Breeze. I just like the consistency. Shoot, he might finish 10th, but that's why I put him here. It's like, because I'm pretty confident in what I'm getting.
Right. And I know I have him lower. I have him 10th. He's still in the top 10. And he is so very, very safe. I have no issue if people wanted to put him up a few spots. I think just with the way that offense is going, they're just so good in the run game right now that I just see that's what they're going to do with Breeze. He is an incredibly accurate quarterback that will manage a game. They don't have to put up as many points as they used to. I just see his usage last year being very similar to how they're going to do it this year. And remember, Alvin Kamara was on the team last year, and he caught a bunch of balls. It's not like that is going to be a new thing. Even Ingram caught more than I was expecting him to. So you just see that, and I don't think that their offense is going to change a whole lot. You still have Michael Thomas, which is wonderful. You still have Alvin Kamara that are going to catch touchdowns. He's not going to be bad by any means, but I'm just not as high on going to be 39-year-old quarterback. I think he's safer. Maybe I can make that argument. That'd be fine. But I would go with the upside.
I can see it. I just like I guess that's why I went with Brady earlier and I went with Breeze earlier. Just a little more safe, I guess. But then
you're absolutely right
with those kind of situations. I guess that's where I'm looking at.
You do look at his numbers and they're freaking ridiculous.
They are.
They really ever since 2004, he's been like every year has been a top 10 guy except for last year.
And then we'll talk about the other guy who tied with him here. It's Kirk Cousins, my 9th, your 7th. I like Cousins a lot. There's nothing. I don't have anything wrong with him. I do like the player a lot. He's been good with the Redskins. He hasn't thrown over 30 touchdowns yet. He's finished in fantasy scoring. He finished 8th, 5th, and 7th. So that's about right. I think we expect, it's hard to say exactly with Minnesota. We expect there to be a boost, but we don't really know for sure. So, he's going to probably finish top 10. He just always does.
And, top 10. And he has the best weapons he's ever had, too.
Yep. And it's nothing against Cousins why he's 9th for me and not higher. I think these guys are so interchangeable.
It becomes very, very close, right?
Yeah, it really is. I have no problem. That's why I'm waiting. I'm waiting and looking for Cousins a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Because the difference for me between Cousins at 9 and even Cam Newton at 4 isn't crazy to me. Isn't like insane of a difference for me.
No. Like, who would be a difference? Like, at what point do you just kind of say, okay,
it actually, for me personally, it probably drops after Cousins. That's where I
gotcha.
So it's like between like Cam and Cousins, like 4th and 9th for me is pretty much there. Actually, maybe even 3rd. Brady for me. I'm not.
Would you say that then Rodgers Wilson would be like a tier, and then
I think slightly,
right?
And even honestly, even Russell Wilson, it really might just be Rodgers and then the rest.
It is.
It's Rodgers, and then Wilson's kind of on his own little middle tier, not quite Rodgers tier, and maybe a little slightly above the rest of the guys. But then there's not enough of a big difference, and it could actually go all the way down to Stafford for me, which we'll come up with Stafford in a minute, but it could go down to that. That's they're all very similar. I think the cutoff might be after 11, after the 11 spot.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, that's another reason why we usually wait on quarterbacks.
Our 10 and 11, Stafford's 10, Roethlisberger's 11. Stafford is my 11th, your 9th. Roethlisberger's my 10th, your 11th. Pretty interchangeable.
Yeah. I think Roethlisberger, the big thing about that one is he's more inconsistent and he tends to get hobbled a little more. Stafford has been a little more consistent in the past 3 years or so.
Yeah, and
but he's going to have some he's going to win you weeks. Like Roethlisberger is that type of quarterback.
And then he has just ridiculous weapons.
Ridiculous weapons.
It's like, yeah. And then Stafford, you look at him the last 3 years, he's gone 9th, 7th, and 6th. He's had...
It just keeps getting better.
He's been very just solid.
Steady.
I don't see why that changes. He's going to be very solid again. It's not like, they've drafted Kerryon Johnson, but it's not like I expect mean, maybe that's me being a Lions fan. I don't expect the running game to be able to do much. I just never do.
It's not going to be a huge... I mean, honestly, if the run game came around a bit, I think it would actually help Stafford. Yep. Because right now, they're completely one-dimensional in the past 2 years.
I'm not expecting 2011's numbers of 5,000 yards and 41 touchdowns from Stafford, necessarily.
No.
But even that year, he had those numbers, and he finished 5th.
Yeah,
that was a ridiculous year.
Yeah, that's when everyone was throwing an insane amount of yards. But yeah, I mean, a lot of it comes down to touchdowns as well.
Yep. So, I mean, but both these guys, Roethlisberger, Stafford, I think they're all solid. And to me, this is where the drop-off is. And we had the same top 11 guys. That's the same 11. We're pretty consistent. And our number 12 is Phillip Rivers. Both had him number 12. Yeah, so we're very we're very consistent.
He's the last guy I would almost put in that conversation. I don't want to exclude him from Roethlisberger because I almost feel like they're interchangeable.
Yeah, and he's kind of there. To me, he is the next step after Roethlisberger. Like we both obviously agree with that, but it's not a crazy difference.
No, not at all.
That's why even in 12-team leagues, to me, there are 12 starting quarterbacks for sure that you can get, and why not wait? Roethlisberger and Rivers now he's going to be throwing the ball to Keenan Allen plus Mike Williams, who I think is going to step up a little bit more. And we still got Gordon out there, Austin Eckler.
Oh, he's got a lot of good weapons too.
So I think they're all solid. So those top 12 guys to me are all starting caliber. I wouldn't worry about. That's why you wait for a quarterback right here. We'll go to 13. 13 ended up being Matt Ryan. My 13th, your 15th. Depends on which Matt Ryan shows up. It's that. Kind of, we're thinking 2016 is kind of an outlier now. It's really not.
Yeah, that is. But I mean, if you look at it, it goes back and forth. And last year he was in the mid-teens, right? I think 15th or something like that. If this continues, more likely he'll be number 7 this year because that's how much he yo-yos.
And if you like Matt Ryan ahead of some like Roethlisberger, Rivers, no problem with that. I get it. It's perfectly fine. And
at that point, if you pick out a quarterback you like,
yeah,
like take the added benefit that you can take him a couple rounds later or, $5 cheaper and go get that guy if you really like him that much. Because I don't think the difference is huge as long as you feel good about that choice and you can save some money and put it towards someone else or save a pick and put it towards someone else.
Yep. And that's why quarterback's so deep. You got a guy who finished 2nd 2 years ago and he's ranked for us 13th overall. Let's see where I'm going to see where Matt Ryan's going. He's 14th overall on Fantasy Pros. If we pull up Fantasy Pros, he's 14th overall. So we're kind of right in line there. We've actually been pretty much in line with a lot of these guys. Luck is our one we're a little bit higher on so far. Then in Rivers is 12th on Fantasy Pros.
Is it?
Yeah, just about where we're at there. Matt Ryan ended up being 14th for them. Let's go to the next guy, 14th, Jared Goff. He's your 13th. He's my 16th, but he made the list today. And, I mean, I don't know. I have nothing against him. Why I put him lower, I just always seem to. I just don't necessarily think he was great as an actual quarterback. He just has so many weapons where he's going to be good. I might be slightly low on him. Maybe I'm wrong on that analysis. He had 3,800 yards last year, 28 touchdowns, only 7 picks. He was very good. I just think Gurley's going to get a lot of the work like always, but he's going to catch some. I mean, Goff's going to be fine. He finished 12th last year. He's going to be fine. He's going to be in this kind of range. I don't feel like he's going to has the potential to jump up very high necessarily. I think he's going to be in the 10 to 15 range at the end of the year. But
yeah, I mean, I don't have an issue with people not believing in him quite yet. And obviously, it was 13 for me. So it's not like I'm hugely high on the guy, but he did, I mean, honestly, he proved me wrong last year. And yes, it was wonderful that a young quarterback can, rely on that run game because obviously it opens up a lot of the passing, lanes and everything like that, especially when you have a beast like Gurley, running behind you. But he was so efficient and he did such a nice job and they won. I don't see how any of that's going to really change. I actually think that with the new confidence, with him having another year under his belt, that they might open up the playbook just a little more even. So I don't see his numbers going down, to be honest. And I like the fact that instead of Watkins, you have Cooks. I think that actually helps a quarterback. Maybe it's not as, flashy, but I think he is just a better overall wide receiver. And I think that I do. And running routes and doing the little stuff, I think it will help Jared Goff. So that's why I like him. And he hasn't, and it's sad. I mean, I guess you could take, if you put injuries back in, he doesn't really move up for me. But that's why I didn't have him dropping, and he's a very solid play.
But that's again why quarterback's so deep, and there's no reason to get one early.
Yeah,
you'd be fine if Goff's your quarterback.
Yeah, you would be
fine. And then number 15. And that's where Jimmy Garoppolo lands. He's your 16th, my 14th. We are lower on Garoppolo than most. He is the number, well, we're not crazy. He's 13th right now, Fantasy Pros. So at least the hype has died, but he is ADP-wise the 9th quarterback taken off the board. That's the difference. The expert rankings keep him lower. When he actually gets in the draft, Garoppolo's going higher. That's the difference with Garoppolo. It's simple for me. He was good last year. He led the 49ers to some wins. He played well. But fantasy-wise, he wasn't earth-shattering. He went 7 touchdowns, 5 picks.
Yeah.
In 5 games. That's not great. That's fine. And his weapons are Pierre Garcon, Marquise Goodwin, Jerick McKinnon, George Kittle. Fine. They're fine. He's going to be fine. I don't think that makes him top 10. That's it. I think it's slightly overhyped. If he had more weapons, different story. If Des Bryant signs, which is a rumor out there, maybe he signs with the Niners, maybe I have to rethink Garoppolo. Maybe I move him up a little bit because then there's somebody who I feel like is an actual real
I think
weapon.
That would help. Yeah, absolutely.
For me, it's just he was fine. He's probably still going to lead him to some wins.
Yeah, I think he's a better NFL quarterback than he is a fantasy quarterback. Yeah. And there is a very big distinction.
Yep.
Because you could be on a terrible team and have to throw it all day, which we've seen with like Blake Bortles back in the day.
Yep.
And, you get inflated numbers. Honestly, in fantasy football, I have him 16th. You would have to really, I don't know what kind of point you could make or what kind of, how you could actually sell me to get him in the top 10. I don't see any possible way.
I just don't think he has the weapons to do it.
No, he doesn't have the supporting cast. It's still young. It's still going to be his first year really starting.
Yep.
And now they actually do have a little bit of tape on him. And I know that everyone thinks he's the next best thing, but there's a lot of good quarterbacks down here. And, he is still a giant question mark.
Yes, and that's why I'm going to wait. And he shouldn't be. Right now he's getting drafted ahead of Stafford and Luck and ADP. And I don't know. I'm taking one of those guys ahead of him. And he could be great, but I'm not paying for it.
No, and I would. And I don't think he's gonna.
I don't think he's gonna be great.
I don't think he would be. Maybe I'll be wrong. Oh, say that he ends up being the 8th best quarterback,
and I'm wrong.
I'm wrong, right? But is he going to be a top 5 guy? I really highly, highly, highly doubt it. I don't see any way that can really happen.
I don't see him breaking into that.
So even if I miss on him by not taking him at 10th, I'm not making any mistake that is going to hurt me fantasy wise.
No. And that's why
I'll take Stafford for less of a price, and he'll finish 2 spots below
and take Rivers, who's just no one
even wants for some reason.
He's just always good. All right, that's gonna do it for our top 15. We're gonna have on Thursday's episode. We're gonna finish off the list 16 through 32, and maybe plus a couple more. Talk about some of the rookies, maybe slightly at the end there. We'll go through that. There's some interesting players in this because I actually like some of the players in the mid-20s even. So it's gonna be that's why a quarterback's so deep. There's just no reason to waste any kind of draft capital on it and draft a Rodgers in the 3rd round or spend your auction money on it. I don't think you need to do it. So we'll go over that list on Thursday. We'll talk to you guys then.